Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9:32 a.m. in the morning, and it's beautiful out there. It's a little wet since all the rain we had yesterday is still kind of drying up out there. It's a little dewy, but otherwise it's a beautiful one, and I hope that it is for you as well. As we return, we listen to a little bit of Clannad. We're going to be checking out the track White Fool. This is coming off of the album Sirius, which was released in 1987, their 10th studio album. And I love, you'll see on the album cover, I love the waterfall that's behind them here. It's like a perfectly shallow part of the waterfall, but evidently it's probably going to a deeper part as well. It just looks cool, that little piece there. Anyways, we're listening to this as this was suggested and sponsored by Yurku Flores. So Yurku, thank you so much for the recommendation and for sending this over. And you sent this one over as it is in celebration of Natasha's birthday. So happy birthday, Natasha, as well. Hope that you get all the cake you want. Today, I'm going to go stop at a bakery and get some cake, pistachio cake. Oh, it's going to be great. Looking forward to it. And hope there's something for you to look forward to on your birthday as well. Shall we dive into White Fool here? Kind of like we could dive into the waterfall that you'll see on the album cover. Here we go. It's a cool little waterfall to the side.
White fool, come to a new land. There's a dark moon on the sand. Then nothing was ever the same again. This land is in their hands. 1,000 years of a tribe land.
It's cool to hear their sound with like the modern drums back there. Percussion still echoes around.
Freedom lost, it strips the earth bare. When the white fool came to a new land, cries of an anthem of beauty and unrest. Fix your eyes to the sound of the
I like the drama and the spacing in here. I like that we have some scenery. Ooh. That's a change. That's interesting. What a return there. This is a really creative atmosphere that they've built here. Fantastic.
There's a dark moon on the sand. Then nothing was ever the same again. This land is in
Huh. That is such a cool sound from the band, and definitely more of a late '80s, more modern in their time kind of sound compared to maybe some of the early works that we've heard. But that's really cool how they brought that all together, and I really like that middle section. It's a 4 minute and 40-second long track, and I really like how it seems like a majority of that time we spend it in that break, whenever that started in the middle of the song. And there was just so much scenery, so much space that's left there for the story to kind of tell itself. Because it seems, unless I'm mistaken, it seems that the song is kind of talking of colonialism and, a tribe and it's their land. And of course, an invader comes and takes over their land. Okay. But I really like how a lot of the music is empty. It's sparse, with just the percussion and the drums being used there. Something very, very akin to like Peter Gabriel's work as well around the time. And a lot of focus on that percussion and a kind of dense, deeper melody or melodic element happening maybe behind it. And we definitely get that here, which is really, really phenomenal in how that plays. You do have that break kind of sandwiched, the bread part of the sandwiched, or I should say bookended, I guess that would be a bit better, by a typical verse and some chanting as well, in which the singing is phenomenal there. I love how, I'm assuming it's Moya singing there. I could be incorrect, of course, but I want to say it probably is. And she sounds great, right? I love how her verse is so poignant, so pointed, so direct, and there's a lot of echo or reverb on her voice as well to give it a nice expansiveness. That's awesome. I'm trying to find who else is singing on this one. Steve Perry is singing on this one from Journey. How did that come about? I mean, it sounds great. Okay, so that's who the male vocalist is along with her. That is really, really interesting. That's cool. So I want to know how that came about. And I got to read a little bit about that. I see that there's something on here. He does a really phenomenal job, and I would never have thought it was him just because, in my mind, not that I'm familiar overly with Journey, but I have a certain idea of their sound, and that I just wouldn't expect him to be in here. But he excels in here. Great, powerful vocals, but still restrained. Still restrained, but using his voice into the best effect ever. And joining along with the chanting, with the wailing and the crying out, especially in the ending and some of these moments kind of in between the verses and such. And that's a really great combination. That's a really cool way of kind of bringing them both together in this track and using them. Wow, that's kind of interesting. And then the instrumentation. Okay, like I said, I love, of course, the pointed concentration on the percussion, but it's a lot of harmonies that are providing the melody back there. Not a lot of other kind of instrumentation melodically besides voices. And I like how that's such a focus on here, because as the song is talking about this, taking over and this invasion, you can kind of really feel the voices acting as the voices of the people, the voices of the natives on their land, and vice versa. And I think that works really, really well in making this such an effective track emotionally. It gets that over. There's not a lot of other instruments or musical accoutrement to, like, for lack of a better word, muddy the waters. It's a very pure song in its approach and how it plays. Let me get to that break. And just some effects, right? The rain, that big boom from the drums as well when that comes in. That is a great little lead-in. That is a great little lead-in. That's awesome. And obviously you get this sense here too. But even in that musical eruption, where of course now all the instruments do come in, like the voices are still the heart of the matter. That is still the absolute soul. And this part feels very 80s, right? But it quickly scatters away and comes back into this. So it's really cool how this track, in such a relatively short amount of time, at 4 minutes and 40 seconds, it goes through a lot of different motions. It has a lot of interesting progressions and sounds. The drumming was really awesome, though. That was such a Phil Collins kind of lead-in there. That was really, really nice. Let's take a look at these lyrics here. of which we do have a decent amount in Gaelic here. I assume that this is a translation, of course, of what's here. The wheels of the world keep on turning. It's inevitable. The corrupt people of this world keep on stealing, yet they don't care. White fool, come to a new land. There's a dark moon on the sand. Then nothing was ever the same again. This land is in their hands. 1,000 years of tribe land, strong winds carry the pulse. Greed and lust should strip the earth bare. Then the white fool came to a new land. Cries of an anthem, crate of fury and unrest. I'm going to mispronounce if I try to speak the Gaelic, so I'm just going to skip that. Fix your eyes to the sound of the horizon. And for all I know very well, this may be somewhat of an echo of the lines before them. The wheels of the world keep on turning. It's inevitable. The corrupt people of this world keep on fighting, yet they don't care. So first it was they keep on stealing, then they keep on fighting. And it repeats the lyrics from there. And the ending says the three tribesmen, and it goes on from there. Let me see if I can maybe find a translation of those specific lines of the Gaelic lines here. Perfect. How about that? That wasn't too bad. Okay, so this part we did read. Okay, so we did have that translation. And the ending here, I was at them, at his old way, listen to them. So perhaps this is kind of like a generational listen to the elders, listen to those who came before you, and listen and heed their warnings, learn from their experiences, and the things that they've gone through as they try to pass that on, that knowledge, to, of course, future generations. Really, really fantastic track. This is, it's really interesting to hear like them at this particular stage in their career, and the adaptation into some of these sounds of the 80s, but clearly not losing themselves or who they are. All right, so I did see this here. Perry, who performed on the song White Fool, sang some of the vocals in Irish Gaelic at the suggestion of the members of Clannad. As Moy Brennan recounted, Steve was recording near us when we met him. His ancestors come from Portugal, and their accent sounds very much like Gaelic. When we suggested he sing in Gaelic, he was very excited. When discussing the album, Brennan recalled that the band encountered some criticism from people living in England for working with American producers on Sirius. It shows Brennan and the rest of the band standing beside a waterfall on the River Crowley in their hometown of Gweedore. That's awesome. I love a lot of these stories, like when we read a story of a band featuring a singer or any musician from another band, a lot of them happen to be, it seems, that the featured musician was just recording in another studio in the same place. So, in another room or so. It seems like a lot of them are just kind of chance meetings here. I think that's really cool. One more thing I'd like to do really quickly. I want to see if we can find another picture of this waterfall. I just think that looks really cool. Like that area just looked really awesome. Hold on, I got a picture right here. Just making sure there's nothing to dox me. That looks really lovely. It's like a small, perfectly humble and beautiful waterfall. That part ain't so small. That's cool. That looks really cool. Don't have a lot of stuff like that in Florida. Okay, let me know what you guys thought, of course, and naturally in the comments down below. I appreciate you all being here. Once again, Yerka Floor, thank you so much for sending over the request. Happy birthday to you, Natasha, as well. And I hope that you all, threw away the microphone. Hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.